Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shrutismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Kesavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakrtau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्वन्धकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः विषेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदायकर्तृभ्यो नमः। नमः श्री गौडपाद श्री शंकर भगवत्पाद सुरेश्वराचार्येभ्यो नमो नमः। प्रज्ञानां सुप्रतानैः स्थिरचरनिकरव्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्तविष्टान् पुनरपि दृढनोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुङ्मायया भोजयन्नः आयासङ्ख्यातुरीयं परममृतमजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि। नात्मभावेन नानेदं न स्वेनापि कथञ्चन न पृथङ् नापृथक् किञ्चित् इति तत्त्वविदो विदुः। वीतरागभयक्रोधैः मुनिभिर्वेदपारगैः निर्विकल्पो ह्ययं दृष्टः प्रपञ्चोपशमोऽद्वयः। न आत्मभावेन नानायितम्. This Nana Jagat, which has been discussed in this Prakaranam, has been established to be Nana, whether you look at it from Atma perspective, being itself, Svenapi, Katanchana. So there is no Atma, Anatma Bhava, nor it exists on its own. Na pridang na pritak kinchiditi tattvavidaha viduhu. The tattvavit understands, recognizes that it is neither apritak with Atma. It's not like in Visishtadvaita where it is attached to Atma, nor it stands on its own. So it is neither an independent entity, nor it is actually an entity which is there but sticking to Atma. So it's a different levels of reality. That is what is implied here. So a pot is neither an object of its own, nor is it an attribute of clay. So pot is neither Atma Bhavena, Svenapi, it doesn't exist. Atma Bhavena also, it is not existing as an attribute of Atma. So this is Vidvat Pratyaksha. Now there can be Pratibandha for this. Even though it is Aparoksha Vastu, it is one's own Swarupa. It is there as invariable presence in every cognition, in every Anubhava, Pratibodha Viditam. It is there. But still, despite listening to Shastra, sometimes there is hindrance in the ability to recognize it. And that has to have a cause. And that cause is described as Chitta Shuddhi, Antakarana Shuddhi, Sattva Shuddhi, or whatever the term you want to use, to show that Pratibandha can be there. That Shuddhi is not Pratibandha, Shuddhi is needed. Therefore, there is a Malinatvam which is there, therefore there is a Pratibandha. So Shuddhi is needed. Sattva Shuddhi is needed in order for one to gain this jnanam. To show that, to explain that, this verse was used by Karikakara. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodaihi Munibihi Vedaparagaihi Nirvikalpaha hi ayam drishtaha prapanchopashamaha advaya. This advaya prapanchopashama nirvikalpa vastu is seen by who? Vitaraga Bhaya Krodaihi Munibihi Vedaparagaihi. So the first line qualifies the person who gains this jnanam. And the second line describes the vastu. What is this jnanam? Jnanam is of this advaya vastu, which is prapanchopashamaha, which is where the prapancha upashama takes place, which is without any vikalpa. That vastu is seen by those who are vitaraga bhayakrodehi munibihi. This muni is a word which can be, there can be a vyutpatti artha and rudhi artha. For many of these kind of words like yati, muni and all that, there can be rudhi artha, the rudhi meaning, or there is a vyutpatti and there is a vyutpatti meaning also. So in rudhi, generally we say muni means a person who is committed to this life and who has taken, some kind of a wanderer. That is a rudhi artha. But vyutpatya mananashilaihi vivekibihi. So through vyutpatti, it is the one who he is focused on manana. The Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, the person who is in a manana commitment is called a muni. So that way we are also muni if we are committed to mananam. So the clarifying any doubts, that is manana. So vivekibihi vedaparagaihi. So vitaraga bhayakrodaihi. So we already saw this briefly and we had to rush it, especially the last line. So we'll quickly see the first line and then explain the second part of the verse and then move. Vigata raga bhaya krodadi sarva doshaihi. This adipadat, everything, okay, all kinds of dosha, okay, is the one who has transcended any obstructions through these things like raga, bhaya, krodha. Then you can have mada, matsarya, all these things, right? These doshaihi, dosha means obstructions, okay, any nature that is any vasana driven obstruction which is there as a hindrance. So if it is forcefully there, then it is called a dosha, which is a non-conducive aspects for this jnana. So let us understand it that way. So these non-conducive elements that is there as part of us, which creates an hindrance. Okay. So sarvada is not there, is vitaraga. So the vigata means that is gone. Okay, that is gone as in mostly. Okay, if it can be completely gone once a person gains the jnana. Sakashayam vijaniyat, okay, is what is going to be spoken about. There is that an unconscious, there is always something which is left over. That also param drishtva nivartate. Only after gaining the jnanam, it completely goes away. But it is mostly gone for, so that is a qualified person, because it may be there a little bit, but it doesn't hinder one to gain jnana. Okay, if somebody has gained that much, then sarvada. So Tikakara here says, For some people, ragadi vimokaha yada kadachit anadhikarinam api sambhavati. So even a person who is not fully qualified for this jnanam, for them also every now and then raga. So there is this smashana vairagya, all these things we talk about. Okay, prasava vairagya, smashana vairagya, and all that. Once somebody close to a person passes away, then a vairagya comes. Oh, the whole life is meaningless. Anyway, all of us are going to become part of this, earth. We are food for all jackals and vultures. This body, Patinattar wrote. Okay, there is so many things people have a claim on this body. This body, our parents have a claim on this body. Our children have a claim on this body. Our spouses have a claim on this body. Okay, and then after death, even vultures and all insects and others also have a claim on this body because this is supposed to become a food for them. Okay. So this Kalgiyanakennum, all these things, it is spoken. So like that, people will, once someone passes away, this Vairagya comes. And that is a temporary thing. It doesn't stay. It doesn't stay beyond some time. Okay. So next masala dosa smell comes, then all this Vairagya goes away. It is not like that. Is why this Sarvada word is used by Bhashyakara, is what Tikakara says, Sarvada iti Munibihi. So this Sarvada Munibihi. Okay. Then this Munibihi Vivekibihi Mananashilaihi. Okay. Therefore, Munibihi Mananashilaihi Vivekibihi Vedaparagaihi. The Vedanta. Therefore, Vedaparagaihi, Bhashyakara says, Avagata Vedantartha Tattvai Hi Jnanibihi. For the people who have clearly understood. See, this whole section, this last 4 or 5 verses are about Nididhyasana, primarily. Therefore, it is spoken in the context of how the yatis or Paramahamsa sannyasis have to conduct if they are focused on Nididhyasana, a contemplative life. That is what is the focus. If you see these verses, okay, especially from next few verses, right? Next verse is Tasmadevam Viditvainam Advaite Yojayet Smritim Advaitam Samanuprapya Jadavati Lokamachare. Again, the subsequent verses Nistutihi Nirnamaskaraha Niswadhakara Evacha Chalachala Niketascha Yetihi Yadrichiko Bhave. So these verses are for Yeti. Yeti again, Rudyartha is Paramahamsa Sannyasi. Yatnashilaha is another Vyutpatyartha which can be applicable to anybody who is in pursuit of this jnana and is committed. But because it is talking about a contemplative lifestyle, it is the primary meaning, Mukhyartha is that this is for Paramahamsa Sannyasis Yati. The lifestyle of sannyasi is to focus, total commitment. So they are under the roof of sky with no dependence on anything around them, right? So they don't stay in a particular place because you don't want to feel that this is my place, and then you don't keep connection with your blood relations and all that, so that you don't have this feeling of my people, my blood. And even clothes they don't keep for long, right? My clothes, and even food, they don't preserve food. Sannyasis, they have to just take bhiksha wherever they get. Therefore, they don't plan for tomorrow. That is sannyasi sthiti. Don't plan. You are not looking at how to secure my tomorrow. So you'll just totally leave it to Bhagavan. That's why Bhagavan Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Bhagavan takes care of it. Even for everybody, therefore, in fact, one question is asked in Gita Bhashya, Acharya actually asks a question. A Purvapaksha question is, for everyone Yogakshema is taken care of by Bhagavan only. Then why specially for Jnanis alone you are saying Yogakshemam Vahamyaham? Bhagavan is saying like that. Or are you misinterpreting is what is the question? Then Acharya says, see, for everybody, Bhagavan only takes care of Yogakshema. Like Kallinul Teraikum, Karupai Uyirkum, Ullunave Tandu Potrumne. There is a verse in Tamil. Even a insect which is inside stone, there is no gap for any food to go into that. But that also feeds some food, either from that stone itself or whatever is available in that gap. The Tera is a small insect which eats, somehow it survives. So who gives food for that? And Bhagavan has even the fetus in the womb of the mother, the baby gets food. Appropriate provision has been made so that food reaches everybody. So it is the Bhagavan who eventually takes care of Yogakshema for everybody. So how can you say only for Jnanis he takes care? So Acharya replies, saying that everyone seek food, they seek protection, they go after it. In fact, even people who are bhaktas, they ask Bhagavan to provide for it. Whereas a Jnani doesn't seek anything, he or she is totally surrendered to Bhagavan. If they are provided, they take. If they are not provided, they don't go after it. Therefore, for them, Yogakshemam Vahami is more appropriate, is how the Acharya responds to that question. Therefore, this whole section is for Paramahamsa, Sannyasis, Yatis, because their life is one of contemplation. Once you have gained the Vedantartha through apatata, sufficient enough to contemplate on, do manana nididhyasanam on it. That is why Vachaspati Mishra in Bhamati Prakriya, he says, Shravanena, through Shravana, you only gain clarity of Shastra. Artha Nirnaya only takes place, Paroksha Jnanam only takes place, and then you do Manana where all the doubts are clarified, Viparita Buddhi goes away. Then in Nididhyasana, there is a Alaukika Pratyaksha of the Vastu, gained through whatever you learned through the Shravanam. Those words during Nididhyasanam, they unfold the Swarupa through an Alaukika Pratyaya, and that gives you the Jnana, is what he says. But in Vivarana Sampradaya, it is said that for a Aparoksha Brahmavastu, how can there be a Paroksha Jnanam? So the Tatparya Nischaya and all is okay. It is not only Tatparya Nischaya, but when the unfoldment happens, even while a person is exposing oneself to the Shastra, when Shravana is going on, even then the Jnanam takes place. So Manana Nididhyasana is only to remove any Swabhavika orientation is removed by Nididhyasana. Doubts are clarified in Manana. So it is more to remove any Swabhavika pravritti is where Nididhyasana is used, is how it is explained here. So both are accepted by tradition. But generally in sannyasi tradition, we say Shravana itself gives jnanam. So there is no paroksha jnanam of an aparoksha vastu. Okay, it's not tatparya nirnaya, but jnanam itself takes place in Shravanam, is what we generally get inclined towards. But irrespective, what we need to understand is that whether you take the Bhamati Prakriya or Vivarana Sampradaya, both are clear that the Jnanam is because of Shravanam. So whether it happens when the Shravanam is taking place or you do get it during Nididhyasanam is where the difference is. But all this Alaukika Pratyaya and all that, again, we can put you on a trip, experience trip. That is why it is not accepted by certain sections. Okay. Now coming back, so this whole uh, approach here in this shloka also, and generally if you take what Gaudapada Acharya is talking about, there is a lot of emphasis on Nididhyasana in the Mandukya Karika. This section talks a lot on that Nididhyasana. Avagata Vedantartha Tattvajnaihi. So the reason I was talking about these two prakriya is you can take this Avagata Vedantartha Tattvajnaihi in two different ways based on which prakriya you are going with. So if you take Vivarana and then say that Avagata Vedantartha Tattvaihi Jnanibihi, that means the person has already gained the Jnana. So that person, Nirvikalpaha, by them it is seen, Prapanchopashamaha Drishtaha. Okay, already they are Jnani. Or if you take the Bhamati, then it is almost gained, and then due to Nididhyasana, it becomes Aparoksha. Ayam Atma Drishtaha. Drishtaha, he Bhashyakara translates it into Upalabdha, because the moment you say Drishtaha, it is as though you have objectified it. Whereas this is not available for objectification, therefore Upalabdha, Vedantartha Tatparihi. And this Atma is called Prapanchopashamaha. Prapanchopashama is a word used to show what is Atma. And Bhashyakara gives Bahurihi Vyutpatti for this. Prapanchaha Dvaita Veda Vistaraha Tasya Upashamaha Abhavaha Yasmin Saha Atma Prapanchopashamaha. The one in which the Dvaita Veda Vistara, this whole Prapancha, which is in the form of duality, the duality being real, that is Dvaita Veda. Not Pratiti, not the perception of Jagat. Jagat perception is not a problem. But seeing that all these are reality, Dvaita Bheda Vistaraha Prapanchaha, that Dvaita Bheda Supashama Abhavaha. There is an absence of Dvaita Bhava. So Advaita Bhava. That is what it is. In which there is an Advaita Bhava. The moment you understand Atmastu, the Advaita Bhava is already there. Because Advayam Atma. So Atma is non-dual. Therefore, that is only once you understand that aspect, the Astitvam, Satta Samanya, once you understand, it is there everywhere. Anything that is there, the easiness is invariably present. Therefore, there is no, what is the second thing? Other than Asti, there is nothing else. Other than Satta, there is nothing else. That Jnanam takes place. So, therefore, it is called Prapanchopashamaha. Dvaita Bheda Vistara Abhavaha Yasmin. So Upashama is that. So you don't have to destroy anything. Okay, again, we saw last session also. Immediately Prapanchopashama means the Manonasha, all that. You don't have to run away from anything. There is nothing else which is there. Atma is Sarva Vikalpa Shunyaha. There is nothing other than, there is no change in the Atma. There is no second thing in other than Atma. There is only Atmastu. Therefore, Prapanchopa Shamaha. Sarva Vikalpa Sunyatvat Atmanaha Sputayitum Prapanchopa Shama Viseshanam. Tikagara says. So the qualification of Prapanchopashamatvam for Advaya Atma is to show Sarva Vikalpa Shunyatvam of Atma. Atmanaha Abhavatvam Bahuvrihina Pratyudasyate. Hetu Hetmat Bhavena Punaruktim Visheshayoho Yosedhati Ataha Eva. Ataha eva advayaha vigata doshaihi eva panditaihi vedantartha tatparaihi sannyasibihi ayam atma drashtum shakyah. Sannyasta can, like we saw, can be a jnana sannyasa also. Like, you don't need a robe. That's what we were discussing in the earlier session. It is just in your recognition, it is already given up. Everything is given up through jnana. That is jnana sannyasa. Ataha eva advayaha vigata doshaihi eva. The one who is bereft of all this obstruction, panditaihi vedantartha tatparaihi. The people who are committed, emotionally committed, they give time completely for this. Anything they do, their focus is only on vedantartha atmavastu. For those people, by those people, only this Atma is drashtum shakyah. But here drishtaha is what is said. Bhashyakara says, takes it drashtum shakyaha na anyaihi. Only by them, so by them only it is seen, is what is Karikakara saying. Bhashyakara says, only by them it is possible to be seen, known. Drashtum means here we already saw upalabdhum. Shakyaha, not by others. Who are these others? Ragadi kalushita chetobihi. People who are emotionally committed due to wants, their likes and dislikes. All the other theologies and philosophies, you can't even talk to them because they are emotionally committed due to their attachments to certain things. Swapakshapati darshanai, they are what? They are like biased. Swapakshapati. So they are biased towards what is their belief, what is their ragadi kalushita. So this is my sampradaya. I am an Advaiti. I am a Advaiti. I am a Visishta Advaiti. I belong to this Andavan Swamigal, GR or whatever, or this Acharya Sampradaya. I am a Sringeri. This, that, everything is ragadi kalushita chitta. Because I don't want to say only these or that. Everybody has a until one. So not everybody, these people, most of these people. If you say everybody, then there is no, except for people who are able to come out of it and look at it object. We all have, I mean, at some point, even I used to have a very strong emotional commitment towards a certain viewpoint, that only after doing Veda Adhyayana and all that you can even open Upanishad. Like that I used to, because someone who I was like very committed to had said that. No, it was very difficult for me to, even though I went to Puja Swamiji, start learning, but it was a big disturbance for me for almost a few weeks. And one sadhu who was there in the ashram, I went to him and I told him my problem, that I'm not able to commit to this because I have this obstruction. I feel that I'm not doing the right thing. Okay, because whoever I have a very strong attachment to has said that until you do, Veda, Vaidika Karma and all that, you can't study this. No, he said you haven't even spent enough time to understand what is going on. So why don't you give it one more month time, clearly understand what is this, at least at a high level, and then take a call. Okay. After that, I spent some time. Then it became clear what is the adhikaritva apeksha here. Why I am saying is we all have, including me. So I'm not just trying to put down people, but we are ragadi kalushita cheto bihi. All of us are, many of us are, most of us are, however you want to look at it, have been on. So some of us are lucky, right? Because we are already from that Advaita school. My parents were Advaiti. Whether they understand Advaita or not, they were attached to a particular Shankara Mata and all that. Right? We have our Anuyayis of Kanchi Mata, Shringeri Mata, whatever. So there is no problem. But suppose you go to a Visishtadvaiti, their minds will be already close to this because they are taught that this is these are Bauddhas. Okay, Shankaracharya was another Bauddha. He came to confuse people. He came there to they think that Advaita means everything is Maya. That's what they think. Shankara is a Mayavadi. They call all of us as Mayavadi. In fact, we read ISKCON Hare Krishna books, they'll scold us. Many people don't understand when they read this Mayavadi, they are the ones being scolded actually. These people write saying Mayavadis say that everything is unreal. Okay, world is Maya, illusion. How can it be illusion? Because it is already there in front of you, this world is. How can they say it is illusion? That's what they, very superficial understanding. Now, if we go and talk to them, saying that no, we are not saying everything is Maya, we are also saying everything is Bhagavan only. It is the non-Bhagavan aspect of this is not real. What you say is attribute is not real. If you go and tell them also, if they are open to have a debate or even understanding, then we can at least have some conversation. Unfortunately, most of these people's mind are already closed. See, now they will say we are also attached. That they can say, right? They can always come back and say that, hey, you are telling that I am committed to Dvaita, but you are also committed to your Advaita. You are not open to understand what we are saying. Okay. Now we can be open. So what is it that you are telling? Okay. So you are saying that there is Bhagavan separate. You need to follow this particular thing. You are saying you have to go to a Vaikuntha or somewhere only, right? Dvaita Dvaitavadis or Visishtadvaiti. What is your moksha? See, forget. Suppose you can say these are three different philosophies, like we study in the history books, right? So there are many philosophies, and then they'll put Shankara said non-dual. Ramanuja spoke about Visishtadvaita, like all that, right? Now as though these are parallel philosophies, each one has its own uh, equal status. Okay, that's how it is presented. So anyway, coming back, so what is your moksha? If your moksha is finally you are just going to say that I'll go to Vaikuntha or somewhere, then how does it help me when I am here? You are just telling me a belief system, theological belief, right? That you believe that this person is Bhagavan. That's all. And then you will go to, if that is what it is, then what is the point in understanding all this? If you are understanding that Chit Jada both are together, Ishvara and he is big Lord, he is much bigger than you, and you are a very infinitesimal spark of him. So all you have to do is surrender and then always keep seeking that when you die, you can be taken to Vaikuntha. That doesn't solve my problems, right? Now you are selling me a belief. So therefore, there is only one which says you can gain moksha here. Other one, of course, is the Buddhists who say that you can become a shunya here. Now, what I'm talking about is that ragadi kalushita chetobihi swapakshapati darshanaihi. Here, Bhashyakara talks about tarkikadibihi, because he didn't, at this time, there was no Visishtadvaita or Dvaita. So he says tarkikadibihi, the Tarka, the Nayayika, Vaiseshika, all these people, they define everything from naked observations They just give some definition. This is what is manaha. Okay. So and this is what is buddhi. So these are the seven sapta padarthaha, dravya guna kriya. All these things are sapta padarthaha. They just, how did you arrive at seven? They just said there are only seven padarthas, which is dravya, which are dravya, guna, kriya, samavaya, all these things, right? Now, what are dravya? Then dravya lakshana they give. So now this is all like somebody's thinking. That's all. Some one person has sat and have defined, and then some people built on it. So there is no pramana. How do you know these are the padarthas? What is you are sitting in this one earth and looking at things. We don't know how many continents are there. We don't know how many, not continents, how many galaxies are there. We don't know. So where life is, nothing. They just sat and wrote. So that is the problem. And then they are very emotionally tied up. They are already committed. They have spent so many years selling the same tarka. Now to break out of it and then see a reality is very difficult, because your emotional commitment won't let you to be that open, because your pride is associated, right? This is like the political changing somebody, the committed political worker. I am a BJP guy, I am a DMK guy, I am an ADMK guy, means you are already committed. So everything you see is only colored from that perspective, because otherwise you are proven wrong, and that becomes a problem for you to accept, right? That's because you're emotionally committed. So Pakshapati. That's why in those days, before all this committed this thing were there, at least they were open to samvada. There were debates. Like Shankaracharya and Mandana Mishra had a debate. He went to ask Kumarila Bhatta for a debate. So they had a very genuine, open conversation to understand which one is correct. And they had the gumption to, once they lose in a vada, then they picked up the other one because they have lost it. So that means they recognize that, okay, I'm wrong. So not like today, right? Today I see all this Vidvat Sadas and all that. I mean, people just, they only commitment is to prove oneself is correct and the other person is wrong. That's all. There is no openness to understand what is the reality. What is the use of all this emotional commitment? Life itself is so short. Okay, just because you are born in a certain family which has traditionally believed in something doesn't, that way we all, for every other thing we are open. This is like the Sringeri versus Kanchi, there is a fight always, right? When you go to some of these places in Tirunelveli and all that, so they will say Paramacharya picture they won't hang in the houses, okay, because we belong to Sringeri. But then 10 other pictures will be there. There will be Sai Baba, there will be some other guru like who doesn't belong to, so Osho picture itself they may have, right? And they will have Sringeri Acharya picture, but they won't have Kanchi picture. This is a thing, right? Because see, what I'm trying to say is you are open to everything else, but on certain things you are closed. Your mind is so blocked. Okay. That's the problem. So it's better it will be better if people can come out of Pakshapata and look at it, right? All of us, right? All of us have to openly look at it. Every other contention, what it is. And there is another problem. Okay? The other problem is we also see there. I'll tell you where these people get to. I used to watch some of these Dvaiti, Advaiti discussions, debates. So Dvaitis say, you guys are not understanding us properly. Okay. You are thinking that this is what we are saying, but we are not saying that. We also recognize a sarvavyapitvam of Bhagavan, but this way. So this Atma Atatvamasi, for example, there is a big debate. Okay. Chandogya Atma Tatvamasi. I saw some debates, and then they say this Tattvamasi is repeated 8 times or whatever. There is some. It is the one which is repeatedly said, right? Now, because there is so many times that it is said, it has to be taken as the primary intent of that section. So, and then they take Atma Atatvamasi because Tattvamasi is not possible. The way Tat is described, the Ishwaratvam is not there in Jiva. Therefore, Tattvamasi is not possible. So, you need to take it as Atatvamasi. Now, all this from which Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asit, all these things, they say have to be interpreted based on this Atatvamasi because this Tattvamasi sentence is what is repeated. That is the crux. So you take Atatvamasi, Atma Atatvamasi as the main thing, and then you reinterpret how the whole Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asit Ekameva Advitiyam and all that have to be understood in light of this. So you people are not looking at it properly is what they will say. And whenever we give so the problem that we also have in these debates is I don't think most of our scholars, Advaitis, have patience or spent effort to clearly understand what Madhvacharya and some of they have really said. So we speak in these debates purely from our understanding, which is mostly based on some Purvapaksha questions. Okay, some Purvapaksha we take and then think that this is what Dvaitis say. So our view of Dvaita Siddhanta we take and then we debate. So they take their view on Advaita Siddhanta and then they speak. They think we are talking Maya means we are talking illusion. They have no time and patience to understand what Advaita is saying. No, obviously these kind of debates are going to be unproductive and meaningless. That's why this approach of Kumarila Bhatta is one way better. He went to a Buddhist school and learned Buddha properly, and then he came to dismiss it, right? He took an initiative to contest it. But that was after he properly understood. But what is happening today is without understanding, all these debates go on. Anyway, so I think we spent a lot of time. Tasmad evam viditvainam advaite yojayet smritim advaitam samanuprapya jadavallokamaacharet evam viditva tasmat evam viditva evam viditva evam whatever is the previous verse, right? Evam viditva enam advaite smritim yojayet enam advaite advaita vastuni atmani yojayet smritim. May you put your mind on this vastu all the time. Advaitam samanuprapya jadavat lokamacharete. So after gaining this contemplative mind, always rooted in the Swarupa, then you do an acharanam jadavat. Okay, what is this jadavat? Okay, then immediately our mind, like a jada, then Sadashiva Brahmendra is where it will go. Okay, then there are stories, all these mystic stories. Sadashiva Brahmendra was walking on the road. British came, they saw this person is not leaving way, so they said British was somebody was coming in a car or bullock cart or whatever was in the chariot or whatever was in vogue in those days. They asked him to move aside. He didn't step aside. This is a story. Okay, so then they go. This person gets down. He tries to push. He doesn't move. He is just walking because his Jadavat is an Brahmanishta. Then they cut his hand. Okay, the hand fell down, but he still continued walking. Then this Britisher took that hand and kept running behind him. And then he took the hand back and put it there, and it just stuck back. And then he again walked. Then this British guy was like so shocked. How can a jnani be like this? All these kind of mystic stories are said spun around the people, right? Which is okay, which is to just attract, some kind of glory to these jnanis people spin these stories. But what I'm trying to say is this Jadaval Lokamacharya means then all the fancy imaginations of jnanis only will come. Jadavati, like you should behave like a Jada. Okay, this is another problem we see today, right? There's so much of mystic interpretations and jnanis are, it's okay. See, it's one way, I don't know. See, even I don't have a real opinion on this because sometimes you need to give that kind of a mystic air around these people so that there is certain respect. Otherwise, you don't give that kind of stature just for jnanam. Somebody has a good jnanam of Swarupa, that person doesn't get any stature. But if he's like some, Shirdi Sai Baba, even his idol, you go and then it can give you whatever you want. And then this picture of other Sai Baba, it gives you this vibhuti, all these mysticism, and then someone takes lingam out of the mouth, then people, oh, this is a huge, big Mahatma. Okay, so that's how the world is, right? So sometime for jnanis, it's better so that you can attract some people and then you can give this upadesha. Okay, to that extent, probably it is good also, right? Otherwise, we take them for granted. Somebody who has jnanam purely is just there like anybody else, then he is taken for granted. That is also a problem. So sometimes this is also okay. But here Bhashyakara is interestingly giving an explanation that Jadavat Lokamacharet means what? Just behave like anybody else. Don't go and show off, saying that hey, I am a jnani. Okay, I am Brahmajnani. I have crossed all the samsara, so I deserve Pada Puja kind of thing, right? So that is not how you should behave. Is what he says. Yasmat sarvanartha upashama rupatvat advayam shivam abhayam. So anartha upashama. Yasmat, since sarvanartha upashama rupatvat advayam shivam abhayam. So the only thing which is going to eliminate all the anartha is the advaya swarupa, shivam. This abhayam swarupa, abhaya swarupa only can remove the anartha. Therefore, ataha tasmat, because this verses tasmad evam viditva. What is this tasmat? Okay, therefore, Bhashyakara has to give this yasmat. So Tikakara says mithya jnana prachaya samskarat vedantartha tatparyavatam panditanam api na advaite pratyaya dardhyam siddhyati ityaha. Okay, so the samskara which is born out of mithya jnana prachaya, all your vasana, okay, samskara, vasana only has created a certain inclination, disposition in you. So vedanta artha tatparyavatam panditanam api, even though you have certain knowledge gained from vedanta tatparya nishchaya, still there is no dardhyam, there is no dridata where in advaite. Therefore tasmaditi. So he first gives the meaning for the verse, and this for yasmad. If you see the next line, he said tasmaditi asya artamaha. So this tasmad is said because of what? When you say tasmad, there should be a yasmad. So that yasmad is what Bhashyakara starts saying, sarvanartha upashama rupatvat advayam shivam abhayam. This anartha upashama is only through the swarupa, which is atmavastu. And that atmavastu shivam abhayam. Therefore, evam viditva enam advaite smritim yojaye. In this, gaining this knowledge, viditva enam, having recognized this, advaite smritim yojaye. Smriti means here buddhim yojaye. Okay. Shastrad Advaitam Tika. Shastrad Advaitam Avagamya Smriti Santatim Kurvataha Lokanuvartane Vidiniyamam Aha. So Shastrad Advaitam Avagamya gained the Advaita Surupa through Shastra. That is gaining this jnanam. After gaining this jnanam, what do? Smriti Santatim Kurvataha. Smriti Santati. You keep on recollecting the same. Basically, see then that generally we don't. So when you say Smriti, it is the Dardhyam which is needed. Which we also call in our Sampradaya as Nishta. Okay. Atma Nishta, Brahma Nishta we say. Right? Rooted in it. So this is not a Smriti Santati. Whatever you see, even when you are doing Vyavahara, keep recognizing until it becomes Swabhavikam that I am talking, even the talking is nothing but Brahman because that it is pervaded by Satta. So once you recognize that, then keep bringing Nishta onto it so that even when you are doing Vyavahara, you are in a Sahaja Samadhi, we say. Sahaja Samadhi is like you just behave like everybody else, but at the same time, inside you, you are already in Samadhi with the Vastu. Samadhiyate chittaha asmin atmani. Your mind is all the time in the Atma Vastu only. You are under the constant recognition that everything is Atma. Advaite smritim yojayet. Advaitavagamaya eva smritim kuryat. Avagamaya eva smritim kuryat. You are under recognition. Recognition is what is the focus when you are doing Vyavahara also. Okay. Evamiti, this Ataha Evam, Tikagara says, Evam Viditva, Nirvikalpatvadi Paramarshaha. You are recollecting the Nirvikalpatvam, etc. of what has been spoken about Atma. Viditva Shastrataha Avagamya Ityartaha Advaita Avagatihi Avagati Dardhyartam Smriti Santati Kartavyatayam Niyama Vidhim Abhyanujanati. It's a Niyama Vidhi. Okay, so the Niyama Kuryat Yojayet. Okay, Tasmadevam Viditva Yenam Advaite Yojayet Smriti. Advaitam Samanuprapya Jadaval Lokam Acharet. So these things look like a Vidhi. May the Jnani behave like this. Okay, but is it even correct to say that? Asya ko vidhi ko nishedaha is what Shastra says. So it is not acharet, it is acharati, yojayati. It is swabhavikam. The jnani will behave in this way. The jnani will behave as a jadavat. Okay. Or if it is apatata jnanam and then it is given as a contemplative lifestyle for a vividisha sannyasi, then you can say it is a vidhi. Okay, may you, in your pursuit to gain this jnanam, may you conduct yourself in this way. We can say. But viditva, if viditva is taken as a jnanam, proper jnanam, then we cannot give a rule saying jadavat lokamacare, may you all behave like Sadasiva Brahman. Now you are a jnani, therefore you should behave like a jadavastu. You can't say that. Because why would a jnani, when the person is already like in recognition that he is Parabrahma Vastu, so how else will that person behave? Okay. Therefore, there is no need to, and even if that person wants to say that I am a jnani, how can someone stop? What would make him or her stop doing or saying something? Because Vidhi Nisheda is not applicable now. When someone is already in the Swarupa Sthiti, whatever impulse comes, that person may just act and keep going. That's it. Tacha Advaitam Avagamya Ahamasmi Param Brahma iti viditva Ashanayadi Atitam Sakshad aparokshate ajamatmanam sarvaloka vyavaharatītam jadavate lokamachare. And that he says aprakyapayanne atmanam aham evam vidaha iti aviprayaha. You don't have to publicize that I am this way, I am a jnani. Aprakyapayanne. Without going and tom-tomming that I am a jnani, all that, the person should conduct as everybody else behaves. You don't need to. But even a person does also, it doesn't really matter, honestly speaking, because Tikakara says, Jadaval Lokamacharet, Bhashyakara writes this, that's all. Before that, he gives what is the jnanam. Advaitam avagamya. This Advaitam, what is this? How does Advaita avagati takes place? Ahamasmi param brahma. That Brahma, Ahamasmi. This Aham is centered on so many things. Aham is this body, Aham is this mind. But this Param Brahma is something else, which is all pervasive, all that is here. So once this jnanam, which we have discussed in so many verses here, takes place, that this Param Brahma is Aham iti viditva, gaining this knowledge, what happens? Ashanayadi atitam, the one that is devoid of Ashana, Pipasa and all that, hunger, thirst, and anger and all those things, all emotions, all the wants, everything, it is beyond all those things, but supports all those things. Sakshad aparokshat, this is another Shastra way of using Sakshad aparokshat. Sakshat means in front of the eye. Aparoksha means that which is neither pratyaksha nor paroksha. Pratyaksha is Sakshat, but it is used. Sakshad aparokshat means the one which is clearly not separate from you. Ajam Atmanam, that which is beyond any change. Ajam means unborn. It doesn't lend itself to any change. So it is Vivarta Upadana Karanam Atmanam. This Atma Vastu Sarvaloka Vyavahara Atitam. It is not available for any Loka Vyavahara. It's not a karma or karanam nor a karta. So there is no Vyavahara that is possible in this Brahman. Therefore, once it is viditam, then Jadaval Lokamacharete, having gained it, just conduct yourself as everybody else. That's it. You don't have to go and, publicize it, is what he says. Okay, just be yourself, because don't be after fame also. So why do you have to even say? What is the purpose? Only if you want to establish some ashram and then show that I am a knowledgeable guy, I have to change the world, I want to create jnana, more jnanis, I want to establish a mission where this whole... So, okay, you have to do something for your sampradaya as a kritagnya, you do, that's okay. But it is not to create an empire, right? Your focus is not like to convert people, right? Somebody comes and asks for this jnanam, you teach, that's it. Because you can help. So somebody is seeking it, so you help. That should be the attitude, not like, I'm going to get. So then you another kind of samsara. That means you want somebody to do namaskara for you. Then you need sishyas who will like prostrate. All this because you want an acceptance. Again, same problem, no? The human problem of self non-acceptance. Then you want. So you are still seeking. Then you are again a samsari only. Therefore, the jnani, if a true jnani, jadaval eva lokam acharati. The acharet is not necessary. You don't have, if somebody needs a vidhi to make the person conduct this way, then that person is not a jnani also, actually speaking. So the vidhi is not relevant. Therefore, this is acharati. Tasmadevam viditva enam advaite yojayet smritim advaitam samanuprapya jadaval lokam acharet. But if you take it as Vividisha sannyasi, the person who has taken a sannyasa lifestyle to gain this jnanam, who has had a apadata jnanam so far, for that person, for a contemplative life, you can say this is a vidhi. Okay, may you behave this way so that you can gain this jnana. Okay, then this is because this context is contemplation, right? The nididhyasanam is the context of these verses, so we can take it that way. Then he continues on the same for a couple more verses. Nistutihi nirnamaskaraha niswadhakara evacha chalachala niketascha yatir yadrichiko bhave. Again in the similar lines, nistutihi nirnamaskaraha, the one who doesn't do smarta karma or himself not seeking stuti namaskara, niswadhakaraha, not doing pitrikarmas, and all these swaha, swadha are two types of invocation, right? So all not doing all this, chalatala niketascha, the one who resides in chalaniketa achalaniketa, yatihi yadrichiko bhavet. We'll see this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.